We begin this hour in the country's courts. The High Court in Johannesburg is today expected to hear the challenge of the uMkhonto Sizwe Party against the SABC. Former President Jacob Zuma and his organization have approached the court to stop the public broadcaster from referring to the 7th administration as a government of national unity. You might remember the matter was struck off the roll in August last year due to a lack of urgency. SABC News reporter Canny Maphanga is part of our team watching developments. She joins us now from inside court ahead of proceedings kicking off in the next hour. And part of what the MK Party is arguing here, Canny, is that the 7th administration hardly fits the definitional elements of a GNU.
Indeed, Ayanda, good morning to you and to the viewers. The MK Party will be back in the Gauteng High Court in Johannesburg this morning from 10 a.m. To argue for that declaratory relief that would essentially, if successful, invalidate the SABC's use of the term of Government of National Unity, or GNU. Now, you may remember last year they brought that application following a letter of demand to the SABC stating that the SABC should refrain from the use of those terms to describe the government of the day. That is informed by the changing political landscape in South Africa, which saw no political party in the 2024 national and provincial elections manage to get that 50+1 majority, meaning that we are currently dealing with a shared government in the government of the day, and it has been termed the government of national unity. Now, what the MK Party is arguing, or rather the former president in his affidavit, as you've correctly stated, I understated that it hardly fits the definitional elements of a GNU. He argues that the SABC is held to a higher standard as the largest broadcaster in the continent. Of course, it's a public broadcaster that follows a mandate, and he says that through the use of those particular terms, the SABC is in breach of its mandate and its constitutional duties in informing the public. He argues that through the use of those terms, they are in fact misleading the public. You may remember that it was first brought to the urgent court here in July of last year after the application was filed. The matter was heard, however, the court reached the conclusion that this was not the appropriate setting to have a matter of that carry such novel issues to take place in the urgent court, and then of course struck off that matter for lack of urgency and directed them to seek a special allocation from the Deputy Judge President, that is Justice Sutherland. Of course, that process has taken place, and that's why we're here this morning before Judge Fisher to hear this application and hear it ventilated in full, as the MK Party would essentially seek that relief that would, if they were successful, invalidate the use of that term. Of course, the SABC will be vehemently opposing this application, and interestingly enough, Ayanda, the MK Party has elected not to use those various platforms that are available if you want to challenge the SABC's use of the term or challenge some editorial decisions that may have been taken by the SABC. They've chosen to come directly to the court and seek a court intervention and basically, effectively, if they are successful, deciding the editorial direction, or I guess policy, we could frame it that way, of the SABC in the approach in which it covers or reports on this changing political landscape and the reality that we are faced with, that this is a shared government made up of a number of political parties that represent a lot of the will of South Africans, and it's no longer a majority party, and of course it has been termed the government of national unity. So it'll be quite interesting to see the submissions made towards the constitutional violations that MK contends the SABC is making by using the term. Specifically, they make reference to the Chapter 2 Bill of Rights. It'll be quite interesting to see how they sustain that argument by stating that the SABC, which is reflecting the current political climate in South Africa, is in violation of its breach of code if it does so. Of course, that hearing will begin at 10 a.m. this morning, and SABC will be giving you that rolling coverage when it begins. Over to you in studio.
Without a doubt, however this goes, may very well be precedent setting, and that's why, as you've mentioned, this is a story we'll certainly keep our close eye on throughout the course of the morning. Canny Maphanga for now. Thanks very much indeed. Canny, live to us there from inside the High Court in Johannesburg.